Hi everyone, this is Cecily. I'm back again for yet another video on stomas, ostomy care, etc. Anything your common ostomate or friend relative of an ostomate may need to know. Today's topic is something that's pretty close to my heart since it's something that I've experienced and I wrestled with it for a really long time. I've alluded to it in my Welcome to My Channel video, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I know that it's something that definitely not just I have been through. It's called a prolapse. I have an ileostomy, which means that it's my ileum, or a portion of my small intestine that's connected to my abdominal wall and is where I dispense of my fecal matter into an ostomy bag. So what can happen is with some people's stomas, including one of my old stomas, the intestine can essentially fall out of your abdominal wall, which, believe me, sounds just as bad as it is. There are a few things that can cause a prolapse. The first big reason that people may get a prolapse is that the hole in your abdominal wall that is made by your surgeon may be just a little bit too large. In that case, you may need an ostomy revision, which is what I ended up needing in the end. Another reason that you may get one is due to increased abdominal pressure. Things that can cause that are coughing, pregnancy, and like extreme heavy lifting. So if you're given a weight limit by your doctor, please, please, please abide by it. Mine is 10 pounds for the rest of my life. That's a tough thing, I know. Even your grocery bags tend to weigh more than 10 pounds. Your pet may weigh more than 10 pounds. It's not an easy thing to accept, especially if you're a young adult and you're very active and maybe you lift weights and you need to start being more careful about that. But when I tell you guys that it's really important to follow those weight guidelines, I mean it. From experience, nothing is worth a prolapse, especially severe ones like the one I had, 20 inches. I'll tell you what, it doesn't look cute in yoga pants, and it's really painful. Not only is it difficult to deal with, it's difficult to put a bag on, but it's also painful and unnerving when you have to touch your bowel. I will insert some pictures for you guys of what my prolapses ended up looking like and sort of the evolution of the prolapses, because describing it with words really doesn't come close to what it looked like in person. And just a little warning, these pictures that I'm going to show in this video are potentially a little disturbing for people, or maybe a little bit much. If you have some sensitivity to anatomical things, I would suggest maybe just listening to the video or, clicking off, because I want to show you guys what a prolapse looks like, and I want you guys to get an idea of what my experience was like. A lot of people get prolapses and it may not be a big deal. I know that it's really scary to look at from having experienced them myself. The first time I had one, it was terrifying. I thought that it looked like a gooey duck, those weird clams with like those long arms. Yes, it looked very much like that, or a small elephant trunk. So I was extremely scared when that first happened to me, and I didn't really know what to do about it. My stoma started out as like 2 to 3 inches out of me. It was intimidating to look at, but then it grew until it was actually between 18 and 20 inches out of my body every single day. Whether I was standing, and even occasionally when I was sleeping, sitting, doing anything, laying down flat and, trying to kind of tuck the bowel back inside of my abdomen really was not working. I would just pop right back out. In fact, once I went to the emergency room and they tried to get it back in with all these different methods. A colorectal surgeon was working with me, and they couldn't for the life of them get it back in. It was just a bloody mess. A lot of small capillaries along the bowel. It has a very rich blood flow. So a lot of manipulation of your bowel, while probably not dangerous to it, will cause a lot of bleeding. So you're gonna wanna be careful and act with moderation when you're touching a prolapse. With all that being said, I wanna give you some of the tips and tricks that I learned along the way of actually dealing with a prolapse and dealing with the pain and dealing with the extreme difficulty that comes with getting a prolapse stoma into a bag so you can be a part of everyday society and not have to strap a hefty onto your abdomen, which I came close to doing a few times. So we're gonna avoid all that with some tips and tricks that I really found beneficial. The first major thing that I want to let you guys know, you can always pour sugar on it. Now, I know that sounds really strange. Hear me out. Okay, so apparently when you pour sugar onto bowel, it changes the osmotic pressure in the bowel and forces the bowel to retract, to get smaller, to kind of shrivel up and go back inside of you. That actually worked for me quite a few times. There were some mornings that I was getting ready for school. I'm a college student, and you know those classes that count attendance, you do not want to miss them. So I would wake up with this huge stoma, 15 inches, 19 inches out of my body, and say, holy crap, I need to get to school. Lay down, get yourself a nice water-resistant pad underneath of you, and just sprinkle some like Domino white sugar on it. Any kind of basic sugar will work. And voila, your stoma will retract, at least for the time being. The next big tip that I want to give you is something that took me a pretty long time to actually find out about. So a big help to me was when I actually got out to the Mayo Clinic. They said, hey, there's this bag that you can use that's typically used on post-op patients, like very post-op patients for stoma care. But since you have this massive stoma that's clearly overcoming the capacity of your normal bags, you can start using this special type of bag. It's a Coloplast product again. I am partial to Coloplast. I've said this before, you should use your stoma guide to get an idea of how large your prolapse is at its circumference. Mine would tend to be about 2 inches or even higher. Like larger. That's a lot. That's way more than my current stoma, my current healthy stoma is. So thank gods that things are getting a little bit easier for me. But at that point, I would be anywhere from like 2 to 4 inches in diameter, which is really large for a small intestine, and why my operation was so important, because when your small intestine starts to stretch that much, you're at risk for ruptures. This is the bag. It is a 1 liter capacity bag. They make these. Like I said, it's really for post-op patients who are freshly stomaed. So this has a viewing window that you can actually open up. Okay, you can open it up. You didn't have to be as dramatic as I was, but yes, so you can open this up. You can take a look at your stoma. You can feel it. If there's a lot of blood and stuff, you can take pictures of it for your doctors. It's good to have a clear, translucent bag when you're dealing with a diseased stoma, so that you can keep a really good eye on the coloration. I'll show you guys a picture right now. The coloration of my stoma was what really was starting to bother the doctors. It would turn this purplish color that really is not healthy for any bowel. Bowel should be pink, bowel should be really like light pink, bouncy, not looking strangled. So you may notice that this bag actually has a spout opening at the end. That can make it a little bit difficult if you're eating a lot of bulk. In general, the bag is so much better than trying to deal with those tiny little bags, and it has such a large wafer size that you'll be able to accommodate like a 2 to 3 inch circumference intestine. Okay, my last tip for anyone with a prolapse, or even someone like me who has really watery stool and wants to make sure that that crap does not leak out at night or anytime during your day. This is Tegaderm. Many of you who are ostomates or have been in the health community probably know what Tegaderm is. It's essentially like a type of adhesive bandaging that you can put over wounds, and you can put now over stoma bags. I will show you what Tegaderm looks like when it's on your skin. This type of Tegaderm is clear, but these are so nice. I actually get them through my ostomy bag provider, simple to order. They're covered, I believe, by most insurance. It's totally worth not leaking, and if you're having prolapses, you might be facing the issues that I've faced with a bag coming off because of the sheer force of your prolapsing bowel pushing it out. So with all that being said, Tegaderm is my #1 go-to for leaky days. So I wanted to show you guys quickly how I use my Tegaderm outlines. They're especially helpful because they're very water resistant. I almost never shower without actually having one on. So first thing you're going to want to do is pull off this tab right here. Done. Then you're going to pull your Stoma bag through like so. And try not to let it stick anywhere because you want to control where it sticks once you get it placed. Okay, great. Now, we're getting there. The next thing you're going to want to do is pull off this inner tab. There's one more on the tape to help you place it more easily. Throw that away, shuck it. And then I make a small tear in the top of this outermost coating. Press it down. We want it air sealed and tight so we don't have any issues with water leakage, or more specifically stool leakage. And voila, now I'm double Tegadermed. So real quickly, I'm going to give you guys the reference number information and the name of this large bag that I mentioned because it can be kind of hard to track down. So it is called the Sensura Mio Bicoloplast Post-Op Ostomy Pouch, and its reference number is 18691. Super helpful, comes in this big old box, and there are quite a few per order. Sometimes they're a little pricey if they don't go through your insurance because they're not a commonly needed bag. However, I would say if you're prolapsing and you're just trying to get through the few months that you may need to wait before you have your revision surgery, I had to wait from about end of August / September until April to get my stoma revised. If you're waiting just those few months to get through your days, having this larger bag is so helpful. I can't even tell you what a difference it made in my life. Less leakage, I could sit through things, I could, sit on airplanes and have less nervousness about, oh my gosh, is my bag going to stay on? I really want to know what some of your tips and tricks are if you've had a prolapse. I'm sure I'm missing things that people may have come up with over the time that prolapses have plagued them, but in general, I want you guys to feel free to ask me any questions about my prolapse experience. Let me know if this video was helpful down in the comments below, and I really look forward to seeing you in my next one. Hopefully it'll be a little bit more fun and lighthearted, but this one was just an educational video I wanted to get out there because prolapses are a tough topic and I've been there. So like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!